Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hey, welcome back, everyone. There's a term that has been going around for the past number of months, year or so. 2 words, level up. Need to level up. What does that mean? To me, it's getting to the next level you want to achieve. You want to keep getting to the next plateau in whatever your goals are. And that could be personally, professionally. How do we shift into that next level? We're going to talk with somebody who helps people do that all the time as a personal coach, entrepreneur coach. He's got a great company called Masternomics, and he's the man behind it. Martin Glin joins us once again here on the program. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm well, feeling good. Got a lot of good energy.
Loving it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it
Yes.
come from you.
Yeah.
The whole shifting into the next level, leveling up. I know where, in my mind, and I'm sure others are thinking this. We kind of know where we want to go, but we don't know how to get there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And, the thing is this. So what I like to tell people is that consciousness means awareness. So what we're conscious of, we're simply aware of. And most people, unfortunately, are not conscious that they operate in a victim mode. So I deal with 4 levels of consciousness, when teaching or talking. And the lowest level of consciousness, we say, is to me. It's the victim. It's the level of consciousness that always, it renders us powerless. It says, I've been on this job and nobody cares about me. No one appreciates what I do. It's everything is always happening to you. And I'm sure, you and I, we know some people, we've experienced some people in life, and you try to help people, and it's always the problem. Something's always happening to them. And that is people that dwell in a victim mindset. If you identify as a victim, you will always be victimized because that is how you identify yourself.
My friend, does your phone ring and you look at the number and the name and you think, and there's some people that, and let's be honest, we've been victims before too. We got,
Right.
I got it.
Right.
But when it rings, it's like,
yeah, you take that deep breath.
yeah, pick up the phone. I know it's not going to be a positive call. They've got something else going on, but I want to support them, so I'll just listen to it.
Yes.
And sometimes things happen in life, and you switch into that victim mode, and you'll dump on a friend, family member, like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I believe that you need a little bit of grace, and you need your 15 minutes of pity.
Pity, that's right. Have your pity party.
It's okay. It's all right. But you got to move past it. If you're one of those people that if that's where the conversation goes, you got to be mindful of that. So, so is this part of the 4 different
levels of consciousness?
Yes. So this would be one of them.
Yeah. That would be the lowest, and it's to me, right? And so it's things are always happening to you. So the thing is, when I'm guiding people and shifting them to inspiring them to get into business, that you have to get out of that mindset in life and business. And what happens is a lot of people take that same mentality and they take it into business. And I'll say, well, I'm posting, but nobody's paying attention to me, but they like theirs, or I'm making the calls, but nobody takes me seriously. Everything always happens to them. And so in order to shift from that level to get to the next level, which is a energized level, we say by me, things are happening by me, right? As opposed to me, you have to shift the way you look at things. And the main thing we have to shift is how we look at our lives, because unfortunately, 70% operate in this victim mindset. 70% of people on the planet.
Wow.
Operate in that mindset. Studies have shown that. And it is a mindset that says you're powerless, right? So entrepreneurship should show you do have power and you can shift out of things happening to me. Oh, I just have to accept this amount of income, right? But so your mind has to shift to say, I'm able to do things, right? It's kind of like when to get from the to me victim to the by me, I'm a participant in this life. I have the power and have energy. You have to exercise free will. And most of us unconsciously, we think free will is just, I can do something good or bad. When free will is actually the freedom to use your willpower. You have that freedom to exercise your will. It's a right that we were born with, that we have as humans, right? To exercise our power to project, what we want out of life. And so that's what business should be. So to shift to that next level, the first thing people have to do to get from the lowest level to the next level, or to get from any level in life, is gratitude. Gratitude it's simple. It sounds simple, but people make it hard, right?
I want to share with you, if I look down for a moment.
Yeah.
I'm writing notes.
Okay.
Because I want to share this with others. I'm 100% serious.
Yes.
All right. So
that's good.
The gratitude thing, and I'm a believer in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was keeping, gratitude journal, and I still do. Even wrote in it last night. And I believe in it, but I'm losing a little bit of steam on my gratitude train in terms of it being a game changer.
Right.
So help us with that. Like, boost us up there. Why is it so good? Yes, we should be thankful. 100 billion%. But it does more than just sort of make you feel good and maybe release guilt too for some people.
Yeah. Well, because what happens is when we do things, or we could say what we're grateful for, is like if Thanksgiving's here, everybody's sitting around. Well, I'm thankful for this. It's kind of generic, and it's just something that comes to our mind, right? But what happens if we put feeling and energy into it, it really becomes real to us. So what we should do is, instead of saying, I'm grateful that I woke up this morning, that's fine. But what will give you even more gratitude is when you encounter or see people that have less than you. So, what my wife does with our kids, actually, sometimes we go and we, feed people at a homeless shelter, right? And what it does is it shifts our children's minds to be like, wait a minute, so there's some people that, wow, they're just happy to get this and happy to get that. And so their mind is shift to experiencing and feeling a gratitude. And then what that does is it propels you, it energizes, because you said a key thing when you were talking. You was like, momentum. Momentum is everything, right? And so a lot of us get inspired and we're spunked up and we're grateful, and we hear a great motivational speaker and we're spunked up for a week, and then we just go right back down. But so if we do things, if we look at people that we have more than, and you look at situations that are far worse than yours, you're going to be grateful. And what that does is trigger something in you, because a lot of us, I can see a person that slept and lived in their car. Now, I've slept in my car, I've never lived it, but I have had, slept in my car. And so when I see someone, I realize, wow, look where I came from, right? And I can look at myself and I'm grateful for the life I have, but that gratitude shifts into a momentum. And then it says, I can create more things to be grateful for, right? So that's what we have to do. We have to look at, and in business, you can look at someone just starting, a business yourself. You've been doing this for years, what you do. And right. And then when you see a guy and he's struggling, gets his first microphone or something, like you'll look at that and you're like, wow, man, I've came a long way, and you're grateful for it. So by witnessing, right, and observing and being mindful of where you're at and seeing and observing somebody else who has a lot less, you become grateful and you generate more momentum to push towards your goals.
Beautifully said. And when you brought that up, like if I see somebody that wants to do podcasts or whatever it might be, in broadcast area, I want to help them. That's my first inclination.
Right.
And I forget about those things that you say. I'm grateful for my skills, like my technical skills.
Yeah.
That's what moves me along ever since I was a kid. Because I think I shared, I taught myself electronics so I could build a mixer, so I could make tapes, so I could get a job. And
Wow.
everything in any studio, I have personally wired right down to the IT. So when I meet somebody that wants to do what I'm doing, and they're like, oh, I got to get a studio. I'm like, no, that microphone stands $25. The microphone, you can get one. I got one right over there. It sounds just as good as this more expensive one. That's $49. I'm not kidding.
Right.
The computer, buy them refurbished.
That's right.
$1.50 on Amazon works great. I use them for everything. So there's no excuse. There wasn't, when I was younger, I didn't make excuses. I didn't know any better. It was just like the cliche where there's a will, there is a way. I'm going to find a way. I didn't even know I was doing it. I was just doing it because I was like, I got to get this done. I got to figure out how to do this. I'm going to do it. And I think that might apply to everything.
Yes.
Finding the will, finding I get maybe your why, finding your why.
That's the key.
So gratitude is the propulsion to every next level. The victim mode, the to me, is the first level of consciousness, the lowest level, right?
Yeah, it's the lowest level. It's the lowest level because you're actually not participating in your life. You're just receiving whatever someone else is giving you. And so once you step into any form of entrepreneurship, or just doing something for yourself, you're leaving that, right? And you're going to say, I do have power, and things can happen by way of me, right? I can project my energy and create my reality. And so in business, that's actually what business should be first on a personal level. It should be a projection of yourself into whatever you're doing, right? And some of us have worked for companies, whatever industry we've worked for, and our boss, they're not technically bad, but they might do things a certain way. And we've learned the skill and we want to do it our way. So, well, I've been here for 5-10 years and I've learned this skill. And if you're just a person that's been there 5-10 years and you're always complaining about how the company is ran, you're at that point, if it happens the first time, okay, like you said, we give you a pity party. But if it keeps happening over and over again, you're just complaining, you're just a victim, right? Because you don't have to be there. You can shift, you can change your reality, right? And so to go to that next level, you become a participant in your own life. You start to create your life, right? And the great way to shift to that level is to identify what it is you want to do, or the life that you want, or the business that you want, and get a mentor, get an example, right? Because those examples, physical examples, because we're physical people, we need a physical example. So if you're a male, a male is a good example. If you're a woman, because that's like directly you. And so when you see someone who has been, had less than you, and now they've surpassed the level you're on, and now they're at a greater height that you aspire to be, what it does is it shifts your consciousness. So if consciousness is awareness, right, then the way we could shift our awareness is we get in different environments, right? If you get in a different environment, you start to see, all your senses change of how you once viewed something. You see, someone can go to prison and they become an even greater person than they was when they entered. Why? Because they were forced to be mindful of everything that they actually have and the power that they have. And they actually read a book. Some people go their whole life without reading a book, right? So they're not aware of things that me and you might be aware of, right? So we have to get in different environments to shift our level of consciousness. And once we shift that, then we can get to another level in our business. If you're making 100,000, right, and you want to hit, the $1 million status, this talking to the same people and having the same set of friends and having the same mentor that only could coach you to get to 100,000 won't help you get there, because the difference between 100,000 and $1 million is big. The thinking is different, right? There's a basics, but the thinking and feeling is different. So you need to encounter those people by reading what they've written, studying them, and shifting your consciousness.
That's level 2?
Yes, yes. By me would be level 2. By
And
way of you.
I would even imagine too that let's say it's business wise,
Mm-hmm.
going to networking meetings, meeting new people, just getting out of maybe your comfort zone, your
Right.
environment, changing it up instead of doing the same old, same old. I want to make sure we get to all four. So what's next?
Okay. Yeah. And then, so the next one is through me. So once you, let's say you created your business, or you stepped up in life, and your business is going well. Well, then what happens to us is we gain a sense of purpose, right? And so it says, you know what? I'm making money, and I want to help this neighborhood or start this program, right? So through me, these kids will, 10 kids will eat every month, 10 kids that don't eat. Or through me, through my business, I'm going to provide this service for whatever. I'm going to teach kids that can't afford college. So what happens is our level of consciousness and how we relate to one another on the planet and as people starts to shift. And so when so some people that are just only purpose driven, and you say, well, how'd you build this nonprofit? How you do that? They had a sense of a business mind, but it grew from just them acquiring money to more of a purposeful aspect. That is another level of consciousness. And so we as humans, we have the ability to keep going to higher levels of consciousness. So that would be the third level. Things are happening through you. Energy is flowing through you to fulfill some higher purpose.
Higher purpose. Now, you gave examples of giving back. Doesn't necessarily, that's great. Doesn't have to be that, though. The higher purpose could be, I've created the ultimate widget, and it is ultimately is going to help people because it makes their life easier. I'm getting compensated for it. But that could be your higher purpose as well, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. The beautiful thing is the higher purpose is based on you. And so the thing that we all have to realize is that your life is for you, regardless of whatever anyone believes how they got here, because we're all entitled to have our own personal beliefs. But we know for sure that your life is for you, right? What you eat goes into your body and it nourishes you. And so what you decide is a great business is for you, and therefore the purpose of why you're doing the business is for you. And you pointed out something earlier when we were talking about it's the why. So why is purpose, right? So I know why I first got into business, and my why at that time was my child. It was my first child. So that was the purpose of why I was getting into business. That does shift for us. The why it can more. It's the same, but then it morphs, right? Because you go from one kid to two children and so on, or whatever that purpose is. But you decide what that purpose is, right? You decide, because it's what is purposeful for you. We all have our own purpose, right? And so once you grasp that, and then you shift to the higher level, which is as me, right? As me means everything is operating as me. What does that really mean? That is a total spiritual connection to any and everybody. That means right now I'm talking to Steve. I see myself in Steve, and Steve probably sees some of himself in me in some of the ways we talk and relate with the words we might use or our experiences. And once you get on that level, right, you really don't have enemies because you see yourself as one. So you're growing to a level of consciousness that brings everyone together. And it sounds like kumbaya, all that, but it actually really is true. Because when I got into business, I want to help people, right? And then when I encounter people from all different walks of life, different races, whatever, I find out, wow, we're really very similar. Right, because now I'm operating as me, and it's the highest level of consciousness. I really don't see a differentiation. I just see somebody who hasn't had the experiences that I have, so I have to enlighten them with something.
Wow. When you speak, Martin, I get what you just said. Visuals of my life connected to your life.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know each other very deeply, but that connection Like you're inspiring me to think of those different levels, where I'm at, where I have been. Here's a question I wonder about.
Yeah.
So we want to shift into the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Can you apply this to different categories in your life? For example, I'm going just hypothetical.
Yeah.
Your personal relationships, that's one category. Your health, there's another one. Your work, your job.
Mm-hmm.
Would this apply to all of those? And if so, I would imagine you're at different levels in those different funnels, if you will.
Great observation. Yes, without a doubt. It applies to any and everything, whatever level, right? It all is about you shifting, right? And a great example, think about the personal level in relationships. You know, you might be in a relationship with whoever you're in a relationship with. And sometimes it's, you know, either party, could be the male, the female, whatever. And they feel like, well, you control everything, you're doing this, da, 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 da. And so once you share that information and you have better communication, that can shift. Because the person might be treating you a certain way because they're not conscious of how it makes you feel. You might be receiving what you're feeling because you haven't communicated. And it's all consciousness, which is awareness. So yes, it applies to every level of our life. And that's why I like to say it's just consciousness. It's just awareness. So if we're talking about personal relationship, what are you aware of? What are you conscious of? If it's business, what are you aware of? What are you conscious of? Yes, and in some levels, you can still be a victim in the personal relationship and be, you know, at the top level in the business, or vice versa. But the beautiful thing is, gratitude is the great initiator and mechanism that we can use in no matter what we're doing in life. If we use gratitude and we use that technique of looking at people in a worse situation, so if it's with your wife or whatever, right, you can look at couples that have failed and you say, man, why did it fail? Well, they wouldn't even sit down and discuss the bills, right? So then you're grateful. Well, I'm grateful I have a partner that I discuss the bills with or whatever. So gratitude is always a great mechanism.
And don't compare yourself, because you could be looking at that couple, you know, look at, they got everything going on.
Yes.
It's probably a facade.
Yes.
And it really isn't what you think it is. So just push it to the side and be grateful for what you have. I'm grateful for you. This is great. I tell no lies. I wrote everything down.
Oh, hey, much appreciated.
And going to share, because it's
passing it on. Pass it on.
You know, and there's probably the highest level.
Yes.
You know,
there we go. It's what it is. It is.
And you know what? Even rolling back to, you know, level number 2, participant with a mentor. This might help me mentor somebody else. Whatever.
That's it.
Oh,
That's
cool.
it.
How do we find you? If somebody's looking to get this done, needs somebody to walk the journey with them, what's the best way to find you, Martin?
Masternomics on all social media platforms. You can email me directly, masternomics1@gmail.com. Go to our YouTube, watch the video, share, subscribe. But you can always email and get in contact and spread this message, pay it forward. You know, that's all I ask. Yeah.
And you know what? In 2025, we got a brand new year upon us. Level up.
Yeah, that's right. Just level up.
You know, now you have the plan.
Yes.
Thanks so much for today. We'll catch up soon.
I appreciate you. See you soon.
Likewise. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, you know, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.